Okay, let's go ahead and start. So, uh, once more, my name is Anisa, and I coordinate Education USA program in Tajikistan. First of all, what is Education USA? Education USA is a US Department of State network of over 400 international student advising centers in more than 170 countries. Education USA is your official source on US higher education. Basically, Education USA helps you to learn more about higher education in US and apply to those universities. In Tajikistan, Education USA has started its operations in 1992. I have joined Education USA almost 2 years ago, and I work as Education USA advisor. Education USA has a mission, and our mission is to actively promote US higher education around the world by offering accurate, comprehensive, and current information about educational institutions in US and guide those who want to access that education. Basically, Education USA centers provide accurate, comprehensive, and current information about educational institutions in US. And I'm sorry. Well, let's say once more. I'm advisor in Education USA Center, and I'm the first person you should contact when you come to Education USA centers. Because advisors are trained before they actually start working as advisors. We are trained, and all the trainings we receive are approved by US State Department. And it means that information you get from me, it's correct and true. Therefore, when you come to the Education USA centers and you have questions about higher education in US, make sure you reach out to Education USA advisors. In Tajikistan, we have just one advisor, and this is me. And that's why if you will have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Okay. So in Tajikistan, as I said, Education USA Advising Center has started its operations in 1992. By 2020, we have enlarged the type of activities we organize and provide. And right now, for instance, we have both in-person and virtual sessions with different universities. So we advise you and we give you different information about what is US. If you have any questions, you can ask them, and I will like we are there to respond. Consultations and advising services can be like individual, like one-on-one, or group. Like for instance, right now, our consultation advising session right happens for the group of people. But you, if for instance you have a question you would like to ask individually, that's also possible. And since right now we work virtually, the best way to reach out to us is either email us, call us, or email us and ask about like virtual one-on-one session. We also run College Prep Club program. College Prep Club program is designed for high school students in grade 8, 9, 10, where we work with them for a year and we make sure those kids learn how to apply to US universities. And by the end of the program, they apply to those universities. We have already the sixth cohort of CPC program in Tajikistan. We have more than 100 alumni, and our students, like 25% of our participants, apply and go to study in US. Besides that, we also have different workshops, test preparation workshops, admission workshops, and presentations. For instance, now, starting from last Saturday, we have SAT prep every weekend. So if you guys are preparing for the SAT test, make sure join our SAT preparation sessions on Sunday and Saturday on Facebook or Instagram. We also organize webinars with US universities. So for instance, right now, like internet and online connection helps us to connect with US universities, like, but still by being in Tajikistan. So we organize webinars on a weekly basis with different US universities. We had webinars with Stanford University, for instance, with University of Oregon, with NYU. Next week, we're going to have a webinar with Consultations. As I said before, Education USA also has a library, and but biggest portion of books in our library are test preparation books. And what this means is that, like, for instance, if you're preparing for the SAT, TOEFL, GRE, GMAT, any tests to apply to US universities, you always could come to our library and we would lend you the books. Right now, since we work virtually, we do not lend the books, like, would not give you the physical book, but we managed to move part of our books to the online platform. So if you are preparing for the SAT or TOEFL and you need resources to prepare, you can also email me and I will share with you the books we have in electronic version. Okay. So this is what Education USA Advising Center in Tajikistan does. And one note, everything we do, all the services we provide, they are free of charge. So we don't charge you anything, which I can't figure out. As Education USA and as our mission is to promote higher education in US, I want just to give you some reasons why you guys need to choose US as your educational destination, right? So why, for instance, out of so many countries, you need to go and study in US? First of all, it's flexibility. US education or US universities provide you with flexible options. It means that you can apply to any major, to any program. You can study double programs like dual degrees together. You can study wherever you want, where you want, and how you want. For instance, if you want to be an architect, like you dream about being an architect, but your parents are pushing you to be a dentist, for instance, you can actually study both at the same time. Or, for instance, if you thought that architect's your dream job, but after the first year you realize it's not, it's absolutely okay to change your major while you are studying in US university and study something else. Or, for instance, when you just finished your high school and you don't know whom you want to be, but you still want to apply to US without choosing a major, it's still possible. It's okay not to know what do you want to study and what do you want to do when you just come to the US university, because US education and US universities are very flexible. They give you that flexibility. Reason number two why you should study in US is because of the choice. You have an option of more than 4,500 US institutions you can choose among. You have that many schools among you can choose. You can study in any type of institution, in college, university, in 2 year college, 4 year college. You can study in any state, in a campus which is outside of the city, in a campus which is an urban location, right? And at the end of the day, the biggest choice you will have is in US, because once more, US offers more than 4,500 US universities. Next reason why you should study in US and why should you choose US university, it's because of the quality of education. When you study in US university and when you get the diploma from US university, you will know that that diploma is recognized worldwide. Therefore, your future employees, for instance, employers, I'm sorry, they will be happy to have you, right? They will, because they will know that, and you will know yourself that studying in US university means you get a high quality of education. And reason number four why you need to study in US, because of the value US university will give you. When you study in US university, it's not just about having and attending your classes. It's about the community you get. It's about the network you get. It's about different activities you participate in. It's about different people you meet. So that therefore, it's the value, which is not just your classes, but it's the person you become at the end, because you live in that world where you connect with different people from all around the country. You participate in so many different activities. You learn, you grow, and at the end, you receive that value of education, which is not just the classes. Okay, and it's all like why you should study in US, right? But why Education USA was created. Yes, we promote higher education in US, but we also understand that it's different to apply to US universities, and not all the students understand the process of applying to US universities. Therefore, Education USA has been created to explain you the process, to simplify the process for you, and so that students who dream about studying in the US will know for sure what they need to do in order to apply and actually be accepted in US universities. So I will shortly describe you the process of applying to US universities. And if you guys will have questions, go ahead and type them in the comments. And at the end, I will make sure I will respond them. Or you can email us and we will respond to you later. Basically, to apply to US universities, you need to take 5 steps. Just 5 steps that will change your life completely, right? And here are the 5 steps. You see, step number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll talk about each step in detail, and you will know more by the end of the session. Basically, your step number 1, it's called research your option or college search. This step is all about finding that one US university you want to study in. And this step is actually one of the most important steps you need to take. Because as I said to you before, there are more than 4,000 universities in US. And it's a lot to search and learn about. And you need to make sure you choose just couple to apply to, because you cannot apply to all 4,000. Well, you can, but it will take a lot of time and energy and resources. That's why we always recommend that you research and you find minimum 6 US universities you would like to apply to. That's why this step should be it should be started much earlier before you even plan your education. So for instance, we recommend that you start your searching process 12 to 18 months prior your studies. So for instance, if you are a high school student, the best moment for you to start searching for US university will be at the end of your ninth grade, right? Or even earlier if you wish. And when you search for the right US university for you, it's very important to know what kind of in what kind of university you would like to study in, right? Because US universities, they told you, they are very different. And therefore, you have to make sure what exactly you want to see in that university. And those differences are like in many things. For instance, US universities can be different in type of school, in type of like school. So what kind of college they are, what kind of university they are. They differ in terms of financial aid, so or cost of attendance. They differ in terms of majors they offer, housing they offer, admission process, acceptance rate, etc., etc., etc. We'll talk about how to find that one best fit university for you in more details tomorrow. But just for you to know that it's very important to know the qualities different US universities have, and to understand which quality you want to see in your dream university. And trust me, when you know the qualities you want to see in your university and you can prioritize them, it will be much easier for you to narrow down your college list, for instance, and define a couple schools you would like to apply at the end. So first of all, for instance, you have to know what kind of degree you want to receive in US, right? Whether it's undergraduate degree or graduate, whether you want to study in US and to get your bachelor's or master's or maybe a PhD degrees. Also, US universities can be different in terms of size. Like there are large US universities with more than 20,000 people, and there are small US universities with like with maximum like 5,000 students in the campus, right? So I will explain you in details tomorrow why it's important to know this kind of things, but it's important to know. And if you know, for instance, that you want to study in large school and it matters to you that school is large, then make sure like take a note of it, because this will help you to narrow down your college search. Also, US universities are different in terms of cost of attendance. Some US universities are more expensive than others. Some offer financial aid for international students, some don't, and etc. US universities are located all over the US, so it depends. For instance, if you want to study in a very hot state next to the ocean, for instance, then we will probably would say it's better to consider Florida or California or vice versa, right? There are kids who say, no, my dream was to live and study in New York, then we will help you to find your best fit university in New York, and etc. Also, you have to understand that to apply to US universities, you need to fulfill certain requirements, right? And different US universities have different requirements. It's harder to apply to some US universities than to others. Some US universities require higher test scores, some require less. Some US universities require one essay, some require none, and etc. So it's a lot of things you need to consider. And when you know, for instance, that you want to apply to certain school with this score of a TOEFL test, it's much easier for you to find that best fit university for yourself rather than looking through all 4,000. So it's all good to know. And when you know those qualities, it will be easier for you to find that best fit university for you. And you can also, but there are certain tools that have been created for you to use to make sure that if you know the qualities, it will help you to find the right universities for you. And for the undergraduate degree students, so for those who want to do bachelor's or associate, we would recommend to use Big Future or College Navigator, because you see here, for instance, they have all the qualities we talked about: location, campus, type of school. So it will have size and whether it's undergrad or grad, about test scores, if you know your test scores. So when you will apply all the qualities you care about, and you at the end, these websites, both of them, will generate the universities which match your qualities, and then you can choose among them, right? So it all was about step number one, about researching researching your options, about finding the colleges which will fit you and where you would like to apply. And as I said before, we recommend to apply to minimum six US universities and colleges. When you know the schools you're applying to, when you know universities you're applying to, we would the step number two, you have to think about how you're going to finance your studies or how you're going to pay for your education. This is a very important step to think about, because you have to understand, to apply to US university, you will have costs which you will face even before going to US, and those costs will come when you will start preparing your documents. First of all, you would need to pay for your standardized tests. For the undergraduate, it's SAT and TOEFL. For the graduate, it's GRE or GMAT. And also you have to pay the application fees. So for US university to consider your documents, you need to pay the application fee. So you have to know how you're going to pay for those things. And it will be easier to know that when you already will know the list of universities you're applying to, right? Because different US universities have different application fees, and different US universities require different tests. So some may require just TOEFL, some may require both SAT and TOEFL, some may require none, but it's really up to university. Imagine that you have actually took all the tests, you have paid the application fees, and you have successfully applied to US university, and you arrived to US. When you are in US, the costs you will face will be related to your tuition fee, basically how much you pay for your classes, the room and board, which means how much you're gonna spend for your living expenses, like your dorm, apartment, or food, right? And also for the books and supplies. When students, for instance, from Tajikistan or any other Central Asian country see the costs, see the numbers in tuition fees and and room and board, they get scared. But as Education USA advisors, we always say, do not be scared of the numbers unless you haven't checked how much of financial aid you can receive from that university. Because yes, US universities also understand that the cost of attendance may be a bit high for some international students coming from different countries, and there they try to help. And they try to help by offering you financial aid. So financial aid can be need-based or merit-based. It means US University will either look at your family income to think how much aid they can offer, or they will look just at you and at your talents, which is merit-based aid. So when university has a financial aid and you apply for that aid, it means at the end, your cost of attendance decreases. Some universities have 100% of financial aid, or they have full ride scholarship, which means you can actually study for free and live for free. Some universities have just, have financial aid, which cover just your tuition. So basically, you will be studying for free, but you will need to pay for your living expenses. Some universities will have partial financial aid, which means like 50% of scholarship, 50% of aid, or 80% or 90, but it's never going to be 100. So since there are so many different US universities, they offer different type of financial aid. But it's always good to understand that it's always depends on you. Sometimes when student is super qualified and you ask university wants to have him in their campus, they will make sure they will do everything to make sure that student will eventually come. And therefore, if you think that you're highly talented students and you can contribute to certain US university, and you have like good profile, good scores, and then go ahead and find that US universities which offer full ride scholarships or which are need blind, so you can study there for free. So do not be scared of numbers unless you haven't checked how much of financial aid you can receive from the university. But you still don't need to panic, right? Because while you are studying, you can also apply to scholarships in your second year, third year, fourth year. And also you have to remember that as international student, you guys have a right to work on campus part-time. So while you guys will be studying in university, you actually have an opportunity to work part-time on the territory of your university. And like you can work in admission offices or any different office, or you can work in cafeterias. But there is like one rule: it's 20 hours, and it's 20 hours per week, and it's on the territory of your university. So it's campus, right? It's a campus employment. Of course, you cannot earn like thousands or millions while working on the campus, but you can earn enough money like to cover your basic needs, like food, for instance, or maybe books and etc. Okay, so this is all step number two. So when you have chosen the university you apply to, it's time to think, okay, how are you gonna pay for that university? Okay, whether you're planning to use your family income, or you hope to receive a fully like funded education, you hope to receive 100% of financial aid, or maybe you hope to merge both your family income and like financial aid you receive, and then also like to cover some your basic needs, like food, for instance. You're going to work on the campus. So we've been talking about step number three, about applying to US university, right? So step number three called applying to US universities, and here you actually start doing things. You start sending your applications to US universities. So you have to know a couple of things before we talk about like details. So all the applications you send to US universities are checked by real people, those people called admission officers. And those people usually spend maximum 20 minutes to review your application. Well, why? Because they have a lot of applications to check, and they cannot spend hours to check one single application, right? So basically, your like, I don't know, 3 months of work or maybe 1 year of work will be evaluated in 20 minutes. If you know that you have to make sure that in those 20 minutes you need to impress the admission officer, so at the end his response would be yes. And to do that, you have to make sure that your application is clear and to the point. It includes all required documents, and your application demonstrates your strengths, right? So always remember, 20 minutes to impress, and that's why your application should be able to impress admission officer for 20 minutes. To apply to US universities, you don't need to go to US. Right now, you don't even need to send your documents through the post. Everything happens virtually, but there's still two ways to apply to US university. You can apply directly to the university by using their own website, for instance, or you can use the popular platform called Common Application for the undergraduate degree students. So it's a platform you use where you fill all the application, and you can send like this application to multiple universities. So you fill one thing and you send it to multiple universities. But around 900 US universities use Common App. And if your university, for instance, does use Common App, and they like recommend you to use Common App to apply, then go ahead and use Common App while applying. However, some schools would have their own like website where you apply directly. So you have to read this information on the university's website, and then you can and then so you can like apply correctly to the university. Okay. Also, when you apply to US university, it's very important to remember about the deadlines. So this is one of the biggest difference when we talk about application to US universities or Tajik universities, for instance, right? You need to apply to US university much early, like at least 6 or 7 months before your which are November, um, December, and January, February. So, for instance, they call differently and they have different meanings, but you have to know that regular decisions, so when majority of students apply, happen January, February. So before January or February, you have to prepare all the documents and you have to send them before like January or February. However, some universities have also early decision deadlines, and early decision deadlines are different. They are binding and they have certain rules. But for instance, if you apply to early decision, it's usually November or December. So it means you have to make sure you prepare all your documents in November. That's why I say that you need to start the process at least like a year before you will be a senior in your high school, right? So because imagine you move to 11th grade, it's September. I need to send all the documents by November. So 2 months are not enough. That's why if you guys plan to apply to US university, you need to start at least. Okay. And when we talk about application to US universities, you usually send a package of documents, right? And different universities may require different packages of documents, but usually, in average, they all have more or less the same type of documents that are required. It will be application form, academic documents, essays, test scores, letters of recommendation, resumes, CVs, and some other documents different US university will require. When you prepare all the package of your documents and you send them to your university either directly or through the Common App, and you send like electronic version of all your documents by the deadline university will tell you, then you send and you just wait, and you wait for a month or two, but usually it depends when you have sent the documents, right? So if you applied in January, usually by March or April you will know the results. And if you guys will be accepted to US university, they will send you two letters. First letter will be like acceptance letter where they will congratulate you and tell you that you have got admitted to US university, and etc etc etc. They can also send you a scholarship letter telling you about how much scholarship you have received. And then the next document they're going to send you, it's called I-20. This is a very important document, and when you will receive this document and it will be in your hands, only by having this document in your hands, you can move to step number 4, which is called apply to US visa. So step number 4, it's all about applying to US visa. And as students, international students who apply to US, you can guys apply either to F, J, or M visas. So if you go there to study in US university or college, you will be applying to the F visa. If you go there for the exchange programs like, I don't know, UGrad or Flex, you will apply for J visa. If you go there for vocational study or training, you will apply for the M visa. So, but without the I-20, the document which I told you before about, you cannot move to this step. Application to US visa, it's a separate process, and when you will be applying to US visa, accepted in US university, this you will start this process after you have done. So it's a different separate application process. As Education USA, we do not consult you about the visas. But if you apply for the F visa, for instance, we only can review your documents. We only can review your documents, and we can explain you how you apply for the visa, for the student visa, if you don't know like the process, right? So you can come and ask us questions, but it's only if you will have your acceptance letter, so we will know that you actually got admitted, and then we can show you the website and what steps you need to take to apply. Okay. Hopefully, when you will receive your visa and your visa will be approved, you can move to the step number 5, I guess, to one of the most exciting steps, which is called prepare for your departure, right? And prepare for your departure means you prepare your documents, you pack things, you buy tickets, you buy insurance and everything to make sure you can leave to US, you can fly to US, and then you can stay in US absolutely fine. So uh, you will see that when you will move to the step, there are also a lot of things you need to do. Like you need to register for the classes, you need to buy tickets, insurance, and etc. 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 We as Education USA organize pre-departure orientations every summer, and if you guys hopefully by the end of this like academic year, you will be accepted to US universities, email us and let us know that you have got accepted and you got your visa, and we will organize a PDO session for you, pre-departure orientation session for you, where we'll explain you in steps and details what you need to do in order to leave to US. We'll even show you how to purchase tickets, for instance, or what is insurance, how to travel from one place to another, and etc. So if you guys once more have applied to US universities and preparing for your departure, or you applying and you will know that you will leave in summer, go ahead and email us and we will explain you the things you need to do. We will invite you for the PTO session. So this was it. This was all about the 5 steps you need to take to study in US. And here you can see our contact information: email, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram. So make sure you follow us everywhere to get updates about the sessions we organize, about the events we have, workshops, and etc. Or you can email us with your personal questions, or like if you want to have the online virtual advising session, you can also email us and we will set this up for you. So that was it for me. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you guys have any questions, I think I can wait a couple more minutes and I can respond to them.